Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Monday Spotlight. I'm Paula. I am a business coach for women in the pet industry. And joining me, I have Courtney Bryson from Bryson Photography. And today I want to spotlight awesome women, and Courtney definitely meets that criteria. She has lots of hats she wears, but we're going to focus on her pet photography business. And it's no joke, like you should see some of her work. So welcome, Courtney, to the Spotlight. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us just a little bit about your business, and then I'll jump into the harder questions.
Okay. So I run Bryson Photography. I specialize in photographing pets, more specifically dogs and the women who have rescued them. Kind of my primary client. From the photographs that we do, I then create artwork. So I do a lot of albums and wall art of those images for people to have of their pets forever.
And they are amazing. And it's so cool. I think one of the special things I think about Courtney, like there's a lot of photographers out there, right, Courtney? But,
yeah.
You really get the person and you get the dog, and you're able to get the photos done really quickly. You've worked with shelter dogs and gotten these amazing photos of dogs who are untrained. And that, I think, is a little bit of an extra talent for someone who is doing photography of, dogs. But also keeping the people happy too, right? Because they want that really nice shot and the, artwork that's going to come out of it. So the reason I'm doing these spotlights is because I want to inspire other women or encourage them, because we're in difficult times right now. Let's just be honest. And I reached out to several women that I am inspired by, you being one of them. And I wanted to ask a few questions just to kind of share your journey. And the first question I have for you is what made you even get started in photography?
So I started dog photography by selling prom dresses, which seems kind of a crazy jump. So in my teens and 20s, I worked for a company and we produced a national magazine of dresses. And so I learned there really about the art of photography and putting together a story and making people want to be a part of the images that you're creating. And I'd started fostering dogs at the same time. And I started to kind of think, I could do the same thing for my foster dogs that we are essentially doing for dresses in my paying job at the time. And so I started taking pictures of the foster dogs, and you could see their adoption rates start to go up. People were really interested. They were following their stories. It's just a totally different connection. And so then it kind of morphed from there to actually photographing dogs and now also cats for individuals of their own babies.
That's so cool. I didn't actually know that that's what transitioned you into having this business, and how people do want to be a part of those photos. I'll share some after our live, some of the ones that you've done, out in the world, not just the ones in studio that I've posted so far. So thinking about, your journey so far, you've had a lot of different things going on. You're building a studio right now, specific to this business. What do you think you would say up to this point is your biggest success so far?
So I was kind of trying to think about this, and I've done some really cool things with this business and have done some photography awards, and those are all really exciting. But I think the biggest part for me that's been successful is using my platform here as a businesswoman and as a pet photographer to be able to shine the spotlight on rescues. So I host pet portrait events, and I've done a few at Your Canine Country business. And through that, I've been able to donate more than $2,500 to rescues in the last 8 months, which I'm super excited about, especially since we were closed for the last 3 months. And then I still volunteer weekly with my local humane society to photograph their adoptable dogs and pets, because that is still really kind of what's close to my heart. And so seeing those animals move on, and then seeing the money that we're able to donate that I'm able to give to my business really changed the lives of dogs and cats that's the best success.
Yeah, that's a great way to give back to your community, and what your heart and soul is passionate about is helping dogs who are in need, and other animals as well, because I know you're not just limited to dogs.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this question I'm going to ask you next, and I was like, well, everyone could probably answer COVID, right? But before the pandemic, what would you say? And you can even comment a little bit on obviously our current situation, but up to this point in your business, what would you say is your biggest struggle so far?
My biggest struggle is probably my boss, which is me. Um, when you work for yourself, it's really easy to become a workaholic and a perfectionist and think, well, while I'm sitting here on the couch, I could just have my computer for a few minutes, and then it's like a 4-hour thing later, and you haven't done any of the other stuff that you wanted to accomplish that day because you've just keep getting sucked into work.
Yes, it's really hard to be your own boss for that reason, very specifically, right? Because you love what you do. You're
Right.
It's not truly work sometimes, but there are other things that maybe we would like to do in our life.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really important that I try to help women with, is avoid that burnout, because you can just keep working and working and working, and that can really
Yeah.
impact everything in your life, your relationships, and just mental health as well. So thank you for that honesty and that transparency.
Yeah.
Calling yourself out on that. When you think about, my audience is helping women, right? So what would you tell other women who are considering, maybe they're not fully into their business yet, they're just thinking about it. What would you tell them about becoming an entrepreneur or a, woman who owns a business?
I think what I really would have liked to know before I started was how important it was to kind of get in and understand the numbers and the business behind it before you actually start offering things. Because I know, like, as a photographer, there's not a specific certification. You've seen that both as a coach and as a dog trainer. There's no required certifications.
Right.
And so, like, it sounds really good that, someone's going to pay you $100 for an hour to take pictures or whatever you're doing. But then when you actually think, like, it's not really just that single hour of FaceTime with the client that you're being paid for. You actually have to cover, the 15 hours of all the behind the scenes and the admin stuff that goes into being able to spend that hour with them. Mm-hmm. So I think if I had spent more time there at the very beginning, I would have been on a better foot to start.
Right. So it sounds like what you're saying is really understanding what your worth is, because it is more than just the time in front of your client. It's all the other things, especially if you're, a solopreneur, not having a huge business straight away. So that's really valuable information. All right, Courtney, what would you say is your next big business goal? And I know you dream big, so I can't wait to hear what's coming down the pipeline that you can share with us.
Yeah, so I just launched a calendar project that I'm putting together with the Rescue Ranch, the Boston Terrier Rescue that I founded. So that's kind of underway, but the thing I'm focused on next is really building, kind of putting all the pieces together. So my background as a marketer and a business degree in the past, and then the photography to help other women in the pet industry create powerful branding images and something other than just basic headshots, so that they've got a way to tell their story visually and grow their own businesses.
That is amazing. And I know that we'll be seeing some of you next month for that very reason. And I hope that we get to host some in-person things together, because I think it would be amazing to bring women together and get those images, because we know that images are so valuable if you get the right ones to bring your audience in and to draw the right people, right, Courtney? Is there anything you would share with that?
Right.
That maybe a little tip you want to share, a little bonus for our viewers today, what they should think about when either hiring someone like you or getting, maybe they're doing their own photos with, what equipment they have?
Yeah, if you're doing your own photos, really camera phones have come a long way. You can create some pretty awesome things. So I'm on Zoom on my iPhone now. The biggest thing when you're taking your own is kind of figuring out where the light is the best. You can't have pictures without light. But picking somewhere, like if you're going to do your own headshot or if you're going to do a live on your page, stand close to a big window. Or if you're going to take a picture of your product, put it as close to that big window as you can and put yourself between the window and your product. You're going to have a much more compelling kind of clean image to share, and that's going to make a big difference in it looking more professional. And then when it's time to hire someone to do it, really spend some time looking at their portfolio and body of work, because there's a million different styles out there, just like there are people on all ends of the spectrum, no matter what your particular genre is. You know, if you want something that's moodier, or maybe you're have this really fine art black and white look that you envision for your brand, or it's really couture and vogue, or it's really fun. So find a photographer that kind of vibes with your vision.
Right, because you want your image to be you. You want it to represent your brand. So I know that you sit down with people to help them really understand that, to make sure it's a good fit, and that you as a photographer portray that for them. And I really appreciate that about you, because it's about them. It's not about just what you offer, but it's a good fit. We have no questions, which means we did a good job. And it looks like someone's going to be asking you for headshots, because someone has messaged, someone you know, has messaged that they're going to need some headshots. And I think that's really valuable. So Courtney, give us a little bit of scope as to how people can work with you, whether it's virtually or in person, what you're able to offer right now, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, so I've just started this month opening back up doing sessions. Because I am a photographer, a lot of the work that I do is outdoors. And with the lens choices that I can make, we can easily keep a lot of distance between us. I can wear a mask. Sometimes my client, if we're only photographing the dog at that time, will wear a mask. We can kind of talk about comfort levels with those. So I do things from dog and cat photography outdoors. And then I've got several personal brand projects kind of in the mix. So if you own a business and are looking for images, we can do product images where you can actually send me products and I can photograph them and send you back the images. That's all virtual, so you don't even have to be close to me. And then we've also got like actual branding images. So creating headshots and storytelling images for you to have for a website and for social media or for printed materials that you're launching. Those are all things that really need compelling imagery.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure to update the description so you guys have all of her contact information right here on this live. So is there anything else you want to share, Courtney, before we wrap up and head on to the next thing in our day?
No, I'm really glad you had me. So we're working on the roof on the studio, so I'll be back out on the roof.
That's how she gets her glow, ladies. Working on the roof for her studio. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time, Courtney. If anyone has any questions for Courtney, she is definitely easy to get a hold of. So I'll post all of her information in the description. And next week, we don't have a spotlight because I'm getting more braces. So, I'll see you guys so that my photos look super good. So that I will see you guys in 2 weeks with another spotlight. We're doing these every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks again, Courtney. Have a great day.